Joe Biden continues to display concerning behaviour, forgetting names and stating inaccurate information. This is his latest blunder.
But all kidding aside, of course, President Harris is a proud Howard alum.
Joining me to discuss this and plenty more about our mate Joe is former White House staffer Barbara Heineback. Barb, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be with you tonight, Caleb.
Good to have you, a reformed Democrat, of course. You have worked in the White House and you look at things now and you've got this question of whether, it's actually President Harris running the show. And we read today that apparently Joe Biden and Kamala Harris haven't even had a discussion about whether Joe is going to run again in 3 years. Do you believe that for a minute?
It appears as though they are not speaking a lot together. Those few people that I know that are, in the White House at this point, it appears that Kamala is persona non grata. She is not welcome. She's not included in meetings. The president has asked her to be the czar of the borders. She didn't even go down anywhere near the border for a couple of months after he gave her that assignment at the beginning of the year. And then when she did go down to La Jolla, Texas, it wasn't, or Del Rio, I'm not sure which. She spent about 20 minutes. She didn't really go to the border. She didn't ask for any actions to take place. She didn't follow through of an action plan. And she has no record to stand on for having been VP for 1 year. It's a sad case when you have a president who is apparently not aware of his full capacities, not able to determine who he's talking to or what state or city he's in. And I think at the beginning, when this election was all about not having Biden so much as president, but let's just get rid of Donald Trump. And then in order to do so, they thought if Biden could just win the election, he was a fairly likable guy, the VP would take over. But they didn't know that Biden was going to make the blunder and say that he was going to select a woman of color and a Black American woman. And it was sort of irregardless of who she was. And I'm happy to see, or I would like to be happy to see a woman as the VP of the United States, but I want it to be a credible person and a person of quality and ability and who understands policy and something about domestic and international politics of the USA.
Well, it's kind of hard to work out who would be worse, to be honest. I mean, Kamala Harris or the geriatric Joe Biden. And of course, forgetting the names and titles of his administration, it seems to be a recurring theme for the president. Here he is struggling with the name of his defence secretary.
I want to thank all of our distinguished guests that are here today, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the secretary of the Secretary Austin.
I mean, you've got him openly saying at press conferences that if he answers certain questions, he's going to get in trouble. They rip him away from the media when they start asking difficult questions. I mean, it's obvious to everyone that clearly he's not up to the job. But what can you do about it?
Out of the frying pan into the fire. The White House has never been a place where you go for training camp. You're supposed to know your position, know the job, and bring not some experience, but a great deal of experience to that position. We have the Afghan fiasco that took place, and you can see what's going on now with China, with Russia, with North Korea. We did not have Xi, we did not have Putin, we didn't have Kim Jong-un, being forward and and suddenly starting up the tests and all of this again when Trump was president. And now the Western world, the free world, is very concerned about what is going to happen when we are watching America with COVID, with border control out of control. There is no control at the U.S. southern border at this point. And what do we do going forward and at the beginning of this second year? And it's a dangerous time for America. And it's a troubling time. And I would really like to see at least the Congress and Senate to be more proactive, not just polarized, but they're worrying about a $6 trillion spending package that will just leave the country in debt for many years to come, because it seems like the Democrat administration has decided to, instead of taking 4 years to talk about different policies and bills, Nancy Pelosi and AOC and squad are trying to dump 4 years into one little bill, get it all done, and throw in everything but the kitchen sink and give away a lot of freebies. And this is not what democracy or a federalist government was meant to be or has ever been in the past. And it's a country that has in the past done a lot of things well, and one for which I've always been proud of. But when I look at the Democrat Party now, when you're saying Barbara Heineback, who used to be a Democrat, I did not leave the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party left me. And when we look at Joe Manchin and the one senator who has been adamant that he is not going to just allow the pressures of the media or the pressures of the Democrat Party to make him buckle and just go along to get along, but he is pointing out the ills and the problems of this ridiculous spending bill, the expenditures that will just triple the debts of America for years to come, and our youngsters and future generations.